Time fractures. Fractures become streams. Streams birth heroes. Heroes are honed. I remember falling through frost and silence, landing in a broken, unready body. My mission was clear: reclaim the Costa Novacula, the razor, the sword of power, stolen by my only friend. Arthesi Gromdir, Mage of the White Circle. He has paid for his crime with his life. Now I take his place. But I arrived too late. The man holding the razor was unworthy, arrogant, unskilled. He died by a better blade. I watched as his killer took the razor and became contracted to the game. Bound to it, fueled by its legend. I tried to stop him by magic, by force, by name. I am Shah Ariel Maldine of the White Circle, and I failed. He struck me down with the very weapon I came to retrieve. But I escaped, barely. And now, as the world darkens, I awaken in a snowbound field to the face of an oath sworn, and the name, Aven.
Welcome back to the Dark Razor Chronicles streamcast. I'm your host, Mike Carmel, and this is episode 2. The Dark Razor Chronicles is a project I've been working on for the better part of my life, and yeah, it's an obsession, no question. I hope you enjoy this latest iteration as much as I do. So hold on to your helmet, because time fractures, and we ride a shard.
It has been a brisk summer, and tonight is no exception. Crouching behind the woodshed, I listen once more for a sound I think I heard. The nights here are never quiet. The distant rhythm of the ocean, the night song of insects, and the persistent hum of the 3 windmills towering over our family home form a constant backdrop. One learns to listen. Luna looks down on me, a dancer in her spotlight on a distant stage, a silver disk floating among the stars. Full tonight, casting her blue-gray radiance on the land. I am distracted. I fumble through the dew-laden grass, searching for the pry bar I stashed weeks ago. This is not the first time I have contemplated this move, but I think it will be my last. A decade of doubt has led to a single question, asked 100 times or more. Can I do this? Tonight, my answer is yes. A faint red glow escapes my shirt pocket, penetrating the handkerchief tucked there. Another distraction. It is a mistake to bring it, to take it from its place of honor, but it has always called to me. A symbol, a small hope that my life, my duty, is destined for a higher purpose. I abandon my search for the pry bar and pull the handkerchief from my pocket, careful not to spill its contents, cradling it in my palm. I cast glances left and right, wary of discovery. A foolish notion. I am on my family's land, mere meters from the trees, with cliffs and ocean to the east. To the north and south, open fields stretch into kilometers of forest. Flipping back the handkerchief, the red glow of the amulet spills out, a flat disc of silver with a tapered point at the top. A large red gem, the size of a walnut, is mounted in the center, pulsing softly. The attached chain has thick links, a reminder, not something to be worn. A tether, not an ornament, as Da always says. I cup the amulet in my hand to smother its glow, holding it under Luna's radiance, allowing her silver-gray light to reflect off the 188 marks etched there. The summer solstice approaches, marking not only my 24th year and 18th serving the oath, but also the 189th year of my family's service. 18 years without answers, How has it come to this? I stare at the amulet. Taking it was a mistake. Da will see it gone and know my treachery. Not treachery. Not yet. But it will come to that. The amulet is an heirloom, worth a fortune, but money has never interested the Avens. Life on Van Isle is good. We work hard, train hard, and hold standing in the township of Parton. I have nearly everything I could want, except for the one thing that drives me tonight. What was that? The squeak of a porch board, I think. Shivering with anticipation, I shove the amulet back into my pocket and focus. The sounds are faint, but the night carries them. Here, behind the shed, the trees reflect small sounds. The creak of the front porch boards conjures an image of Da leaning against the railing, pipe pinched between thumb and forefinger. Does he know I'm out here? Or is he only awaiting my return? I release a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. Our row, our worst yet, weighs on me. Never before have I spoken so plainly, so bluntly. Never before have I been so angry. But I am tired of the rules, the blind faith, the bindings. I have lived my life in good standing. For 18 years I have trained in the sword, a skill more fashion than function these days. I have stood guard, honored my duties as I was taught, all at the word of Da, his Da, and generations before, because of this amulet. Craning my neck, I seek Elion's star. Still below my line of sight. Not yet midnight, then. Leaning back against the shed, I let my fingers resume their search for the pry bar. I close my eyes and listen. Da is still on the porch, leaning on the railing, pipe in hand, perhaps rolling it between thumb and fingers, as he does when anxious. Occasionally he will draw on it, the burn crackling softly as the glow warms his face. The thought calms me. Despite everything, I am not angry at Da. Our row was just another in a long line. It is the question left unanswered that has me upset. Why do we do what we do? Answers are within reach, yet I am denied them. A long squeak. Our front door. Another as it swings shut with a tap. I exhale, tension easing as I listen to floorboards creak and the bedroom door click shut for the night. My fingers find the cold, wet metal of the pry bar. The shed, a dozen strides from the house, looks across the front and side yards. My parents' bedroom overlooks the backfield, the way I must travel. I gain my footing and with practiced stealth, move beyond the shed, dashing quickly to the side of the house. Since childhood, I have trained in movement and combat, 18 years of practice. Moving along the windowless wall, I stand at the corner, mere meters from my parents' window. On any normal summer night, the window would be open to let in a breeze, but this summer has been cool. The window is closed tight. I cross the field in full view, listening intently. I hear nothing to dissuade me. Still, I do not look back, for fear of what I might see. Dense forest edges the field. Despite the dark, I find the path's mouth and the veil of obscurity it offers. Relief washes over me. Now the chance of discovery is slim. The path is a familiar companion. I have walked it countless times, traversed it most of my life. It symbolizes my responsibilities, the weight of my oath. So well do I know its contours, I could navigate it blindfolded. When I reach the mausoleum, I stop. Its cold moonlit walls stare back. I linger long enough that Luna moves a hand span across the sky. The name Aven is carved above the door, marking my first responsibility, the part of my oath that means the most, yet means so little. A place where we lay each Master Aven to rest, where Da will rest, as my Granda and Great-Granda already do. One day I will be Master Aven, It will fall to me to pass on the oath, the knowledge, the training. Of training I have an abundance. Of knowledge, a severe lack. Somewhere down the line, before my great-great-granda, we lost the meaning of what we do. Stepping off the path, I move around the mausoleum's side. The decorative ridge at the corner conceals a thin cord and looped end. Feeling for it, I draw it down to a tiny catch. Without securing it, anyone entering unbidden would set a bell ringing. A full 120 times. An alarm loud enough to reach the outskirts of Parton. Returning to the front door, I lay a hand on the stone, tracing the emblem carved there, a 12-pointed star intersected by a vertical sword. Simple, yet revered. I have never seen the like of the sword depicted. It would suit my style perfectly. Not that such a weapon couldn't be forged, but it wouldn't be made of graph iron. Da's sword is graph iron, dull black, cut from a single piece of the ancient material. Its hilt of steel, the grip bound in leather and wire, light as a reed, nearly indestructible. One day, it will be mine. Da has already said I deserve it now, but I fear he said it in response to my doubts. My sword is a simple steel thing and suits me well, though it does not hang from my hip this night. I've trained most of my life with that sword, practicing day by day, maintaining it in every way, down to replacing its grip and bindings. I cherish it because Great-Granda gave it to me, on the day I swore the oath, relinquishing it to me before his time. His training and guidance form the foundation of who I am, and I will never forget a word of what he taught me. Great-Granda dedicated himself to the oath. This steadfast belief has restrained me in the past, along with my word to Da. A complicated mechanism sits in the keyhole of the mausoleum door, a lock that cannot be picked as it is merely a decoy. The true lock lies within the family device. Leaning the pry bar against the door jamb, I place one hand on each side of the device. All 12 points on the star can be pressed, but only 3 random ones will move at a time. Finding the 3 is a matter of sensing which ones give. I always start from the top left quadrant, but find 2 in the lower right and 1 in the upper right. Holding these 3, I press the center of the star. Now I must find a 4th point. It must always be in the bottom 2 quadrants, though a decoy can sometimes be in the upper. Once found, the lock will actuate and the combination will change upon release. A complicated mechanism, as I have said, one Da and I have studied. This mausoleum is full and a new one will need to be built before Da can be laid to rest. We have already chosen a site further down the path. The foundation was laid, but we have not worked on it for almost 2 years. The small click the door pushes inward, gliding as it should on well-maintained hinges. That is part of my duty, maintaining the door, lock, and alarm mechanisms. I collect the pry bar and look into the darkness from the threshold. A small window, set high on the back wall, is meant to provide light, but it does little this night. After a moment's pause, resolve set, I stride into the darkness. I have no fear of this place, no worry of trappings or mislaid objects, for I can say with confidence I was the last to enter. A large stone sarcophagus sits at the center, the name Aven carved into its foot and head. My ancestor, Lork Aven, was meant to be buried here, but he is not. The Avens are certain of one truth, regardless of the lack or absence of passed-down history. Lork disappeared, and nobody ever heard from him again. His son Trent took on the duty of the oath. I am tempted to think how easily someone could have resolved my doubts by lying, claiming that Lork is indeed entombed here. But the name Aven embodies truth. That is what our family teaches, what the township believes, and what we uphold. Regarding the action I am taking tonight, I feel no guilt for any falsehoods. I have faithfully shared my true intentions with Da, including my desire to one day uncover what lies within the sarcophagus. This is the puzzle I aim to solve.
They called me divine, daughter of Corban, god of war, daughter of Sias, the first to bear that title. I am the goddess Ariel. I was born beneath stars that never dimmed, fed on praise, dressed in prophecy, held aloft by my mother's faithful. And yet, I envied the mortals, not for their weakness, not for their deaths, not even for their freedom, but for the ache in their eyes when they spoke of love, real love, tangled, reckless, imperfect. My grandmother told me stories when the heavens were still and no prayers called her name. Stories of kings who knelt for nothing except the curve of a smile. Of warriors who wept openly by the fireside. Of women who sang for their dead with voices too broken for melody. Of falling in love with someone you could never keep. Of holding hands beneath rain, not magic. Of kissing with nothing but hope. I would listen for hours, curled against her knees like a child half mortal. But I was not mortal. I could only observe. I watched centuries pass from my window in the sky. I watched empires rise and fall. I watched mothers die in childbirth and soldiers cradle their brothers in the dirt. And I longed, not to rule them, not to protect them, but to be one of them, just once. To fall in love, to hold a heart not bound to prophecy, to feel longing, not command it. But I could not descend, not as I was. I had not the power to do more than see. I could not touch. And yet, so much could be done for the world of man. So many mistakes could be avoided. So much suffering erased. So I made a choice, unbeknownst to my parents. To do more than kill and frighten, I committed Kosvitz, the sundering of self, the sacrifice of body for the chance at soul. I gave up my form, my place among the stars, and I entered the razor, the Costa Novacula, that blade, my mother's blade, my father's legacy. I became the whisper in its edge, the glint that catches the eye, the hum that makes hands tremble before they strike. I fell, burning, into the garden, waiting for the one who might raise me. Not to love, for that was beyond my reach. Even now, I wonder if I was mad. But I wanted to help. I wanted to raise a king. And if love is madness, then let the blade sing.
I circle the sarcophagus. Past Granda, great-granda, and great-great-granda's births. The back wall, just below the window, holds a steel hook where a lantern hangs. I take it in hand and pull open the small, stiff drawer at its base, revealing matches. I run a match over the lantern's base. The match flares to life, and the room celebrates in a dance of shadow. Turning up the lantern, its warm light fills the room with an even glow. I hang it back on the hook and turn to face the sarcophagus. I have never tried to open it, though not for lack of want. Great-granda taught me that honor is enough. Faith is enough. Da always enforced this with infuriating statements like, "A guard does not demand to know the contents of his employer's safe." I know Da is right. Faith should be enough. But what if? These two words drive me. What if there is nothing within? What if it is all a waste? What if it is something terrible? Placing the tip of the pry bar into the seam under the capstone, I lift. Wedging the bar deeper, I lift again, repeat, and make minute progress with each cycle. I go slowly, not wanting to risk chipping the stone, not wanting to leave evidence. It has good purchase now, but the most I can lift a capstone is a handspan, and all I can see is darkness. Lowering the capstone, I leave the pry bar. Going to the right side, I shove. The capstone moves, a little at first, then a little more. The pry bar falls away with a loud clatter. I shove harder. The capstone slides on smooth seams and tips off balance and falls to the flagstones on the opposite side. The floor shakes beneath my feet. The thump resonates so soundly that I fear it was heard all the way back at the house. Oh shit. There is no hiding my intrusion now. No hiding that I have shattered my word, my oath, and almost 200 years of my family's devotion and service. My heart pounds, my breath races as I stand over the sarcophagus, my hands resting on its rim. Answers lay within reach, yet veiled in shadow. Peering in, I see nothing but darkness. Reaching in, I feel nothing but air. Taking the lantern by its wire handle, I jostle it with eager movements, and it squeaks. Turning back, the damage to the capstone is more extensive than I had thought. At least 1/3 is broken off at a corner, the flagstones beneath shattered. My heart pounds all the harder. Well, what does it matter now? I am so close to knowing. There is no reason to stop. No reason. Except my oath, shattered like the capstone. I lift the lantern to glimpse what my family has spent nearly 2 centuries guarding. To say the least, I am confused. Stepping around to the foot of the sarcophagus does nothing for my comprehension. It is not a sarcophagus at all, but the top of a hatchway. I peer over the sarcophagus wall at the narrow staircase, 13 steps. I can wait no longer. I hop over the wall with ease. The top step, twice as deep as the rest, acts as a landing. Excitement bubbles inside me as I start down. The walls are cut from solid stone. They would have to be. Our land is stone. That is Van Isle. At the base of the stairs, a short hallway ends at a door. Switching the lantern to my other hand, its heat billows up my arm. The doorknob, rough and scarred, turns with some force. It gives with jerks and squeaks until the door, warped with age, pops inward a finger's width. I push. The door opens slowly, creaking until it catches on a flagstone. Pushing harder, lifting on the doorknob, I force it open just enough to pass through. I lift the lantern to illuminate the room. My heart pounds like a drum. Da waits for me.
Thanks for listening. This was episode 2 of the Dark Razor Chronicles streamcast. I am your host and author, Mike Carmel. If you're enjoying the journey, don't forget to share, subscribe, or drop a message. I'd love to hear what you think. You can find all my links at mikecarmel.ca. That's mikecarmel.ca. And remember, if the blade calls, answer it. If your oath is tested, honor it.